Hi, I think we're here. Welcome to the first day of our telling of the stories from the Thousand Nights and One Night. Today is the first day, or I should say, the first night of our stories. And I want to tell you about a couple words that we're going to go over before I start telling this story. So, the very first word I want to bring to you, most of you will know, is the word genie, but it's actually pronounced in Arabic would be Jenny, like the name Jenny. So we're talking about a genie, and you will hear me say the word Jenny. The second word I want you to know about is the word Shiek. Now, I will be pronouncing it as shake, as that is the proper pronunciation of the word, but you will understand it as the word Shiek in today's language. The third word that I want to introduce you to is the word Afrit, which is the name of a demon. Sometimes the Jinni is also referred to as an Afrit. So that is the third word I want to present to you. So now, without any further delay, let us start with the first night of the Thousand Nights and One Night, with the tale of the traitor and the Jinni. So as we begin, it is related, O auspicious king, that there was a merchant of the merchants who had much wealth and business in various cities. Now on a day he mounted horse and went forth to recover moneys in certain towns, and the heat sore oppressed him. So he sat beneath a tree, and putting his hand into his saddlebags, took thence some broken bread and dry dates, and began to break his fast. When he had ended eating the dates, he threw away the stones with force, and an Afrit appeared, huge of stature, and brandishing a drawn sword, wherewith he approached the merchant and said, "Stand up, that I may slay thee, even as thou slewest my son." Asked the merchant, "How have I slain thy son?" And he answered, "When thou tossedst dates and threwest away the stones, thou struck my son full in the breast as he was walking by, so he died forthwith." Quoth the merchant, "Verily, from Allah we proceeded, and unto Allah we are returning. There is no majesty and there is no might save in Allah, the glorious and the great. If I slew thy son, I slew him by chance medley. I pray thee now pardon me." Rejoined the Jinni, "There is no help, but I must slay thee." Then he seized him and dragged him along the casting him to the earth, raised the sword to strike him, whereupon the merchant wept and said, "I commit my case to Allah," and began repeating these couplets. "Containeth time atwain of days, this of blessed, that of bane, and holding life atwain of halves, this is pleasure, that of pain. Seest not when blows the hurricane, sweeping stark and striking strong, a none gave the forest giant, feels the suffering of the strain. How many trees earth nourished of the dry and of the green, yet none but those who bear the fruit for cast of the stone complain. Seest how corpses rise and float on the surface of the tide, while pearls of price lie hidden in the deepest of the main. In heaven are unnumbered the many of the stars, yet nay, a star but sun and moon by eclipse is overtake. Well judgest thou the days that saw thy faring sound and well, and countest not the pangs and pain, wherefore fate is ever fain. The nights have kept thee safe, and the safely brought thee pride, but bliss and blessing of the night are genders of bane." When the merchant ceased repeating his verses, the Jinni said to him, "Cut thy words short, by Allah, needs must I slay thee." But the merchant spake him thus, knowing all thy effort, that I have debts due to me, and much wealth, and children, and a wife, and many pledges in hand. So permit me to go home and discharge to every claimant his claim, and I will come back to thee at the head of the new year. Allah be my testimony and surety that I will return to thee, and then thou mayest do with me as thou wilt. And Allah is witness that of what I have seen. The Jinni took sure promise of him and let him go. So he returned to his own city and transacted his business and rendered to all men their dues, after informing his wife and children of what had betided him. He appointed a guardian and dwelt with them for a full year. Then he arose and made the wuzu oblation to purify himself before death, and took his shroud under his arm and bade farewell to his people, his neighbors, and all his kith and kin, and went forth despite his own nose. Then they began weeping and wailing and beating their breasts over him, but he traveled until he arrived at the same garden, and the day of his arrival was the head of the new year. And he sat weeping over what had befallen him. Behold, a, a sheik, a very ancient man, drew near, leading a chained gazelle. And he saluted the merchant, and wishing him long life, said, "What is the cause of thy sitting in this place, and thou alone, and this be a resort of evil spirits?" The merchant related to him how he had come to pass with the Ifrit, and the old man, the owner of the gazelle, wondered and said, "By Allah, O brother, thy faith is none other than exceeding faith, and thy story right strange. Were it graven with gravers on the eye-comers, it were a warner to those would be warned." Then seating himself near the merchant, he said, "By Allah, O my brother, I will not leave thee until I see what may come to pass with thee and this Ifrit." And presently, as he sat and the two were at talk, the merchant began to feel fear and terror and exceeding grief and sorrow beyond all relief, and ever-growing care and extreme despair. And the owner of the gazelle was hard by his side, when behold, a second sheik appeared them, and with him two dogs, both of greyhound breed, and both black. The second old man, after saluting him with a salam, also asked them of their tidings, and said, "What causeth you to sit in this place, a dwelling of the Jann?" So they told him the tale from beginning to end. And they stay there not lasted long before there came a third sheik, and with him a she mule of a bright bay coat. And he saluted them and asked them why they were seated at that place. So they told him the story from first to last, and of no avail. "Oh, my master, is a twice told tale." There he sat down with them, and lo, a dust cloud advanced, and a mighty sand devil appeared amidst the waste. Presently the cloud opened, and behold, within it was a Jinni, hending in hand a drawn sword, while his eyes were shooting fire sparks of rage. He came up to them, and hailing away the merchant from among them, cried to him, "Arise, that I may slay thee as thou slewest my son, the life stuff of my liver." The merchant wailed and he wept, and the three old men began to sighing and crying and weeping and wailing with their companion. Presently the first old man, the owner of the gazelle, came out from among them and kissed the hand of the Ifrit, and said, "O Jinni, thou crown of the kings of the Jann, were I to tell thee the story of me and this gazelle, and thou shouldest consider it wondrous, wouldst thou give me a third part of this merchant's blood?" Then quoth the Jinni, "Even so, O Sheik, if thou did tell me this tale, and I hold it a marvellous, then will I give thee a third of his blood." Thereupon the old man began to tell. And here we begin the first Sheik's story. "Know, O Jinni, that this gazelle is the daughter of my paternal uncle, my own flesh and blood, and I married her when she was a young maid, and I lived with her nigh 30 years, yet I was not blessed with issue by her. So I took me a concubine, who brought to me the boon of a male child, fair as the full moon, with eyes, lovely shine, and eyebrows which formed one line, and limbs of perfect design. Little by little he grew in stature and waxed tall, and when he was a lad of 15 years old, it became needful I should journey to certain cities, and travelled with great store of goods. But the daughter of my uncle, this gazelle, had learned grammar and egromancy and clerky craft from her childhood. So she bewitched that son of mine to a calf, and my handmaid, his mother, to a heifer, and made them over to a herdsman's care. Now, when I returned after a long time from my journey, and asked for my son, well, what can I say? His mother, she answered, Thy slave girl is dead, and thy son hath fled, and I know not whither he is sped. So I remained for a whole year with grieving heart and streaming eyes, until the time came for the great festival of Allah. Then said I to my herdsman, bidding him choose for me a fat heifer, and he brought me one, which was the damsel, my handmaid, whom this gazelle had ensorced. I tucked up my sleeves and skirt, and taking a knife, proceeded to cut her throat. But she lowed aloud and wept bitter tears. Thereat I marveled, and pity seized me, and I held my hand, saying to her, Bring me other than this. Then cried my cousin, Slay her, for I have not a fatter nor a fairer one. Once more I went forward to sacrifice her, but she again lowed aloud, upon which I refrained and commanded the herdsman to slay her and flay her. He killed her and skinned her, but found in her neither fat nor flesh, only hide and bone. I repented when penance availed me not. I gave her to the herdsman and said to him, Fetch me a fat calf. So he brought my son ensourced. When the calf saw me, he brake his tether, and he ran to me, and fawned upon me, and wailed, and shed tears, so that I took pity on him, and said to the herdsman, Bring me a heifer, and let this calf go. Thereupon my cousin, this gazelle, called aloud at me, saying, Needs must thou kill this calf. This is a holy day, and a blessed day, whereupon naught is slain save what he perfect pure, and we were not amongst our calves any fatter or fairer than this. Quoth I, Look thou upon the condition of this heifer, which I slaughtered at thy bidding, and how we turn her into disappointment, and she profiteth in no wise. I repent with an exceeding repentance of having killed her. So this time I will not obey thy bidding for the sacrifice of this calf. Quoth she, By Allah, the most great, the compassionating, the compassionate, there is no help for it. Thou must kill him on this holy day, and if thou kill him not, to me thou art no man, and I thee am no wife. Now, when I heard those hard words, not knowing her object, I went up to the calf, knife in hand, and Shahrazad perceived the dawn of the day, and ceased to say her permitted say. Then quoth her sister to her, How fair is thy tale, and how grateful, and how sweet, and how tasteful. And Shahrazad answered her, What is this too that I could tell thee on the coming night, were I to live, and the king would spare me? Then said the king in himself, By Allah, I will not slay her until I shall have heard the rest of her tale. So they slept the rest of that night in mutual embrace till day fully brake. Then the king went forth to his audience hall, and the wazir went up, and his daughter's shroud under his arm. The king issued his order, and promoted this, and deposed that, until the end of the day, And he told the wazir no whit of what had happened. But the minister wondered thereat with exceeding wonder, and when the court broke up, King Shiek entered his palace. We'll be back again tomorrow with one more set of stories for day 2. Till then, have a great night.